Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hello. Ẹni àtijọ́ ṣe dáadáa ni. Ṣàlàáfíà lẹ́wà gbogbo Lincoln. Hi, everyone. Oh, Lord, it's been a long day. It's been a long day. Hello, everyone. Come on in, say hello. 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 Hi, everybody. Hello, TikTok family, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. How's everybody doing? Everybody. Wow. Hope you all had a good weekend. It's been a long day. Thank you. Thank you. I need that. It has been a long day. It's been good. Thank God for the opportunities. Yeah. Sometimes when I think of where I used to be, when it was like, I remember when, I don't know if I've ever said this before, but I remember the day that I knew that I wanted to do immigration practice. I didn't know how that was going to happen. Hello, and thank you. Don't start with the timing. I tried to get at 9 o'clock, but Mommy Judy's called. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. TJ's back, everybody. Sweet TJ's back. But I can never forget. I sat down. This is when I was still a stay-at-home mom. I sat down in the living room. I was the only one at home, and I was going through, because I used to do pro bono work with people, and I was going through a document. I was in like a sitting squat position, and I just started. It was very emotional, and I said, I don't want to do this, continue doing this for free. That I want this to be my career. I want it to be my passion. I want it to be my life's journey, my life's intention, my purpose. And I said, God, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I need to practice immigration law. I can never forget. And it was not an easy journey getting here. And some things I think are like, but for God's strength, So things happening now, I don't take it for granted. It's still, hello, Miss Abena, and it's still me. I just can't change who I am, but I thank God and I appreciate, and I'm always humbled and honored. And today was no exception. And we thank God for His mercy. Thank God for new connections and all of that good stuff. And we also got an I-140 national interest waiver that required a very lengthy RFE response, that my client was very worried, like, Shoma approve it, Shoni approve it. What's going on? I don't have any other option. We thank God that we got the approval this evening. It was like, you know what? It's a favored month. So welcome in. We're going to keep claiming favor for everybody and believing and trusting that God is able to do exceedingly above and beyond what we can ever ask or imagine. Hi, everyone. This is Attorney Abisola Adepola Olale, immigration attorney based in Alabama, representing immigration clients in all 50 states. If you've got an immigration case, if it's a case that we handle, we can and do represent immigration clients regardless of the state you live in. So we can represent you. It doesn't matter where you live. We, call us and we would be favored month. I'm telling you, Miss Abena, Miss Eleanor Sanctuary. When I called her, I was going to mess with her a little bit. And I was like, are you sitting natural? But from the tone of her voice, I already knew, no, this is not, no, don't be playing too much. Just leave her alone. So I was like, okay. But, it's always a relief, and just, I cannot describe the feeling I get when I get those email notifications that all what we've been trusting God for has worked out. There's no feeling like it. Like, I'm telling you, y'all, it always feels like I'm getting the green card petition approved personally all over again. And that's why I don't deal with denials well. I shut down the whole of the day. And because I wear my emotions on my sleeve. When I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I don't care for you, when I love you, you just know there's no hiding it. That's just my personality. But anyway, if we can help your immigration case, please contact us at 334-341-4475. On WhatsApp, the same number, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook at 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒓𝒂𝒏𝒕 Immigration. And we will be glad and honored to support you and to represent your immigration case. I see someone, actually 2 people. Thank you. Thank you. It is. I can never forget that day. I was in the living room when I was still married then. As of that time, I can remember just like yesterday. There was no plan of getting divorced, but I was not in the happy space. Does that make any sense? But I was stuck between. I'm Nigerian. We don't get divorced, but I'm miserable. So, but I knew it. I just knew that. And then when I went back to school for my master's degree, I got, because I have a master's. I got a master's degree in American Legal Studies. When I enrolled in Mississippi College School of Law, that was for the very first time in their history. That year was the first time they ever offered immigration course. If that's not God speaking, I don't know what is. Very first time they ever offered immigration course. And I cannot tell you how very helpful it was to actually have someone who was a practicing immigration attorney actually teach me. Was I see God needed me to have that foundation. I mean, you can't write your story better than the way God will write it. So anyway, once again, we represent immigration clients in all 50 states. Call us, email us, info@llawfirm.com, and we'll be happy, glad to help you with your case. Let's talk immigration, people. So y'all know the drill. We'll get to questions. Thank you, Ms. Abena. Credit questions at the end, so we'll go the round. But real quick, I'm really tired, people, so bear with me. Sherry. I'm gonna watch Sherry look at me. I think that's part of the reason why, first of all, I had to end an engagement, because I just don't see how a relationship is good. I can commit to that to the extent that is required with the way my life is right now. I just, companionship is good, but you've got to be realistic at the same time. But anyway, yeah, so we'll get to that questions at the end. Let's talk immigration. I'm going to talk about acceptable proof of marriage termination. So let's talk about this, because one thing that I've seen so many times, people, and if you know anyone who has been asking questions, and to ask very question, do you think this divorce decree works? This is the video you want to pay attention to. So if you know anyone who has an issue with divorce decree from Nigeria, please tell them to come join in and listen and see if it's going to benefit them. Okay, so one of, if not the most common reason why USCIS denies, and if you're not Nigerian, please bear with me. I'm still licensed in Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria. I understand the culture, so I'm very familiar with divorce decrees and the requirements that we need for each kind of marriage. What divorce proof you need. I cannot speak to anybody else's country. So if I have many clients, I have clients from Jamaica, I have clients from Ghana, different countries, but I always try to reach out to other colleagues from those countries to see what I can get from them. But because I've seen, and a lot of my clients are Nigerians, and I've seen that issue in very, very strong cases where the only problem that prevented an approval was because of Nigerian divorce decree. Now, listen well, and you know me. It's frustrating, and I can't even imagine what it is like for the applicant when you almost get to the finish line, and they tell you, "Thank you, Ms. Analyze," and they tell you, "We can't approve your case because we couldn't verify your divorce decree." So let's talk about acceptable proof of marriage termination, so that you know exactly, especially if you haven't submitted your case, you know exactly what is required of you. And you're submitting the accurate information, accurate documents that is specific to your type of marriage or the type of marriage you had. So when it comes to marriage-based cases, a regular AOS where your spouse has to file for you, or you are doing a VA case and you've had a previous marriage before, right? One of the requirements of marriage cases and VA cases is that you have to prove that you have a qualifying relationship. What that means in immigration terms, in layman terms, I should say, is you've got to prove that you were legally free to marry that new spouse who's going to file an I-130 for you, or you're legally free to file an I-1. You are legally free to marry the spouse who was the abuser that led to you filing an I-360 petition. That's what qualifying relationship is about. And so, legally free means that if you've been married before. Obviously, if you have never been married before, that doesn't apply to you, right? If you've been married before, what that means is you're required to show that every marriage you had in the past, prior to marrying your American and or legal permanent resident spouse to get a green card, all those marriages have been legally terminated, right? Legal termination of marriage now depends on proof of legal termination of marriage depends on the exact kind of marriage that you had. That will determine what the acceptable proof of termination will be in your case. So if you are someone who had a registry marriage, church weddings will fall within that. Because if you got married in a church in Nigeria, there's a time where you have to sign some documents, right? Those documents, yes, you leave them in the church, but the church sends it back to the marriage registry because it's got to be registered. So that church weddings at the registry, those are statutory marriages. Statutory marriages in Nigeria can only be dissolved by a high court, and that means that you must have a decree nisi and decree absolute. The decree nisi, decree absolute must contain, if you have minor children, must contain the list of the names of the children. That is the law in the Matrimonial Act of Nigeria. All names of minor children must be in your decree nisi. If you have, if you're the one who filed, for instance, you're the spouse, you're the wife who filed, then your suit number must have WD. If you're the husband, it would have HD. It has to be in the high court. There's a format that the suit number has to take. That is why it is absolutely advisable. Please make sure if you're getting or using a Nigerian divorce decree, make sure you had a lawyer back home help you with that process. And my lossy about India, hey, brother, no, because it's not going to help you. But let me dial back a little bit. If you are even contemplating divorce from your previous spouse and you are both in Nigeria, in the United States, or even if your spouse is back in Nigeria and they agree to waive personal jurisdiction and agree to announce a waiver on contested divorce, there's no reason why you shouldn't get your divorce done in the United States. That's number one. But let's assume that you still, and then in order for you to use divorce decree from Nigeria, statutory divorce decree, one of the requirements is at the time the petition is filed, the petition for dissolution of marriage, at the time it is filed, then you must, one of the parties must be physically present, living domiciled in Nigeria. If both of you are already in the United States and you've been in the United States for 6+ months, and you're now filing a petition in Nigeria that none of you was present for, that's a red flag for USCIS. That's a red flag right there. If you've got minor children that were not included in your decree nisi, that's a red flag. If you've got less than 90 days between your decree nisi and decree absolute, that's another red flag. So those are things that you have to look at for. I don't authenticate documents, and I tell my clients that, but it helps when you actually have gone through using the lawyer so that you reduce your chances of having someone say, because USCIS will, they have a right to verify with the Nigerian consulate here and also have Department of State embassy officials verify with the Nigerian government whether or not your document is real. So that is the problem we're seeing. That's statutory marriage. Now let's talk about all the types of marriages in Nigeria. Because engagement, all that kind of good stuff. I don't even know what happened to mine.
I can bear lawyer. You can't think working here. I don't know, because now that we're divorced, like anyway, but yeah. So there, what we call engagement, right, is what we call engagement. Hold on one second. You may not hear me on TikTok. Let me know if you can hear me, because I can see that the baby, by baby I mean TJ. Can y'all hear me on TikTok? Somebody say yes, please. Help me out. Can you guys hear me on TikTok? Because TJ connected. I'm using TJ's whole phone for TikTok. He connected his AirPods. Hello, somebody? Anybody? TikTok people? Can somebody hear me? Y'all hear me? Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So, 𝒑𝒂💏💂 engagement is basically, now, if what you did, because sometimes you do introduction, and I think that's what we did, what I did. Introduction where they still bring some things for the family, because you don't come into empty-handed to meet your in-laws, right? Or in-laws to be. You bring some, that's introduction is not the customary marriage. The customary marriage is, all those funfair where y'all changing clothes like 200 times. There is dowry paid, and there's a ring attached to a Bible, all that good stuff. We still call it engagement. Technically, as far as US is concerned, that is customary marriage. So question is, how do you dissolve a customary marriage? There's also nikah, Islamic marriage. How do you dissolve Islamic marriage? You cannot use a high court divorce decree to dissolve an Islamic marriage and or a customary marriage. It's impossible. That's just what the law is. So if you submit to USCIS claiming you had a customary marriage and then use decree nisi, decree absolute, that's red flag, 200 red flags all at once, because that doesn't happen. So, and I've seen that happen so many times, not because my clients, now we're trying to fix things, not because they intentionally submitted something that was fake, but that's what they were told they needed to do. But that's incorrect. That's why you consult with a lawyer. Know exactly what is required in your specific case. Okay, let me go back. Let me actually put that in perspective. So I'm going to share my screen because I know we got some questions that, hey, Sister Lawyer, so affidavit Lasson is fine to dissolve a customary marriage. Yes, it is. It doesn't sound right, but it is. Okay. If you are on YouTube and Facebook, you should be able to see my screen shortly. Let me just pull that page up. And I want to show you what's in and is Nigeria. There we go. No, let me go back here. Hold on 1 second, people. Reciprocity. Here we go. So there's something called a reciprocity schedule on the U.S. Department of State website. Okay. What the reciprocity schedule does is that each country lists the acceptable documents for a specific incident on the website. So that information is there for everybody to pull up. So, for instance, the Nigerian government has given the U.S. government what is acceptable as proof of birth certificate, death certificate, marriage certificate, divorce certificate, adoption certificates, police clearance, passports, whatever the civil documents are. Each country will provide the United States with what the acceptable documents will be. So divorce decrees, right, in Nigeria is, divorce decrees in Nigeria would depend on what kind of marriage you had. Okay, so let me go divorce certificates, and let me share my screen here because seeing is believing. Want you all to see something. Okay. And let's go back here. Trying to do this. Share my screen. What's my share screen? Y'all just hold on. I'm going to. Okay, here we go. Okay, Mr. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Share screen. And not this one window. No, not this one. Not this one. Ledger here. Okay. What am I looking for? Bear with me, people. That one. Okay, let's see. Can y'all see what I'm sharing? Okay. Can you guys see it? If you let me know. Full screen. Okay, if you're on YouTube and I'll say what it is I'm sharing. If you're on YouTube and Facebook, can you guys see what I'm sharing on the screen? Let me know yes, no, if you can. And if you can see it properly. If not, I can zoom it a little bit. Can somebody let me know if you can? Okay, perfect. All right, hold on 1 second. I can barely see. Give me 1 second. Moment of truth. Okay. All right, awesome. Good. Let me see if I can. How about now? Is that better? You may not be able to see me, but let's see. I'm trying to. Okay, is that better? That should be better, much better. So what I'm showing, perfect. What I'm showing is, and I'm just going to tell you on TikTok and on Instagram, reciprocity schedule, U.S. Department of State reciprocity schedule. It will give you the acceptable form of document for your kind of marriage. What is the acceptable proof of termination? When it comes to customary marriages, these and what falls under customary marriages, we have marriage under native law and custom, so basically engagement, and then we have Islamic marriage, and then where it says registry marriages, that is statutory marriage. So basically you had a church wedding, they sent your documents to marriage registry to be registered, or you had a wedding at the 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈 or Lagos Island register, whatever the case may be. That is statutory marriage that will require decree nisi and decree absolute. Okay, so divorce certificates when it comes to statutory marriage, here is, I'm going to highlight that. Let me start from here. Registry marriages, and that is, get married, like I explained. Registry marriages can only be dissolved through a high court. So you cannot present a customary marriage, court decree as proof of termination of a registry marriage. It has to be dissolved through a high court. And then, we see they are saying, the Department of State, that they see some divorce certificates issued by customary marriage magistrate courts purporting to have dissolved a registry marriage. Those divorce orders are not legally binding. USCIS will not accept that. Okay. And then it goes further to say where the divorce is granted, one requires the service of an attorney, which I always recommend. And once the divorce is granted, the order is temporary and is called a decree nisi. That's the first one you get in a statutory marriage. And then a 3-month, 90-day period is required because that gives the parties a chance to reconcile. If they do not, at the end of the 3 months, the parties have not reconciled, then the decree will automatically become absolute, and the decree absolute is issued.
That is how to dissolve a statutory marriage in Nigeria. There is no other option. That's it. When it comes to statutory marriages. Now, customary marriage. Does an affidavit suffice? Yes. Where it says, right here, for marriages under native law and custom, a divorce decree may be issued, emphasis on may, be issued by a customary court. For Islamic marriages, a divorce decree may be issued by a Sharia court, right? Now, exceptions. Here is the part I want you guys to pay attention to. Many divorces for customary marriages will have no written record. No written record. Marriages under native law and custom will also be dissolved by custom. Many of these divorces are not recorded, while some are recorded by a sworn affidavit after the fact. Islamic marriages may be dissolved in the Sharia court. Okay? Now, it breaks down even further. Right here where it says, there is no legal requirement that a customary marriage should be dissolved by any court, nor any requirement that the divorce be registered or documented. So all y'all been saying is, customary marriage, you don't need any legal documentation of termination. Let your daddy say, your mommy say, and your mom says, say, hi, this is someone returned. They returned all the yam, tubers, and clothes. End of story. That's the divorce of customary marriage. Okay. Traditional marriages are often dissolved without any written record. One legal method of divorce involves the groom or his family returning the bride price to the bride or her family. Divorces for some traditional marriages are documented by one party or both parties filing an affidavit with a customary court. So yes, you have the option of filing or having a customary court decree. But what USCIS is now doing is this, and this is where you put yourself in a bind. Once you start to register something or claim that something came from a court, keep in mind that customary courts, albeit they may not be like statutory court, but if you're filing something with the court, that basically means that, hold on 1 second before, I don't know. TJ, come real quick, kiddo. Gotta get my, can you get me my, no, right here. TJ, I'm not kidding. Give me my say hi and go. Give me my computer charger. Do you see it? My battery's almost gone. Thanks. TJ.
I thought you want me to plug it in.
Thank you, baby. Okay. Good. Traditional. So one legal marriage. Okay, there, and then here it goes. So you can't file something with a customary court. The issue is this: once you begin to put something in writing, USCIS is now going to contact and tell their people at the embassy to contact that customary court in the 𝒂𝒔𝒔 or customary court and verify whether or not, as you said, it was recorded with the court. You're putting yourself in a bind, and you're making them say, okay, if it was recorded, then we can verify it. Keep in mind, customary marriages are not verifiable because there's no requirement to have legal documentation. So the best practice is not to even have anything recorded with the court. Just have an affidavit saying, hey, I did that bride price, end of story. Move on with your life. What are they going to do? That's what the law says. Okay. Where there is, so finally, traditional marriages may be formally dissolved by a customary court and a divorce decree issued by the court. May. Where there is no customary court in the area, magistrate court can dissolve, yada, yada, yada. Let's see. The courts may dissolve a traditional marriage without one of the spouses being present or even knowing that a divorce took place. Now let's talk about Islamic marriages and how to dissolve that. A divorce in an Islamic marriage is often initiated by the husband, where a man tells his wife, I divorce you. That single pronunciation suspends the marriage. Making this pronunciation 3 times permanently dissolves the marriage. It is not clear if this must be at the same time or different times. However, the most common practice in Nigeria is for the man to write it on paper and give it to the woman. Once this is done, the marriage is technically
divorce, and the couple can only remarry if the wife marries another person and divorces. The woman may take the paper, yada yada yada. And let's see. An Islamic marriage cannot be dissolved in the registry court unless there is no customary court available. Let's see. All right. So that is that in a nutshell, people. That is that in black and white. Let me go back to my screen. Y'all okay? Because I know that's a lot of information, but that's what the law is. So don't put yourself in a bind. If you're claiming that you had a customary marriage, get someone to write an affidavit saying the bride price was returned. That is legal termination of the customary marriage. If you had a registered marriage, then you have to get a proper decree, nisi decree absolute. Islamic marriage, let the man say, hey, I pronounced on this day that I divorce you, end of story, go on your way. We can't complicate anything for ourselves. Like, right? Just let sleeping dogs lie. Let it lie. So that's it. That's all she wrote. So I hope that was helpful in trying, I know it's a lot navigating this stuff, but like I said, when in doubt, please consult a lawyer. Always advise me to do that. All right, let's go to questions, people. Okay, let's see. I introduced you to someone, and I think he has a consultation with you tomorrow. I hope you'll be the one to consult with him. Yes, that will be me. Like I said, when we get the attorney to negotiate to start consultations, I will let you guys know. It would actually stick that on the calendar, so you know. But it will be me. Hello, Miss Murther. How are you? Hello, Davies. How are you doing? So how will USCIs know it's a customary marriage or court marriage? Based on what you tell them. Now, if you had a court marriage, keep in mind the marriage registries in Nigeria have recordation of your marriage. So if you say that, well, it was a customary marriage, but then they pull up record saying, I haven't seen that happen. That way they pull up record of marriage registry, but just leave that alone. But if you say it was a customary marriage, then they have to believe you, right? My kids at 130 is approved, and I received their approval letter. What next? It depends on if the kid is going to be adjusting status in the country, they're eligible, or consular processing for their immigrant visa. That will be the next stage. Disclaimer. General information, nothing specific to anybody's case. Anything you need for your case, we can have a consultation for that. Hello, Bisa Young, Texas. I hope I haven't murdered your name. How are you doing? Okay. I have 2 years green card, which will expire in 2025. What are consequences of getting my I-751 based on abuse denied? Will I lose my green card before it expires? If it doesn't expire to 2025, my brain doesn't work that way on code. My brain works in professing that it's going to work out in your favor. So I don't want you thinking of what will be the consequences of a denial based on abuse. But theoretically, if an I-751 is denied, you have an opportunity to refile if you haven't been referred to immigration court, refile on the same ground, or even if you've been referred to immigration court and you qualify for another ground, you still can refile on another one based on a different ground with USCIS. Hello, Miss Dahlia. How are you? Hello, Mr. Jude. How are you doing? Hello, Miss Pamela. Love you back. Hi, Ngozi. How are you? How will USCIs understand or verify what kind of marriage you have to ascertain your type of divorce? It depends on what you tell them. And the way you tell them the kind of divorce you have
is the type of divorce decree you submit. So if you give them a decree nisi, decree absolute, you're already indicating to them that you got married in the registry or you had a statutory marriage. If you submit a customary decree, then you're indicating to them that it was a customary marriage. If you submit an affidavit, then basically that's a customary marriage. If you submit a written paper document from your husband in an Islamic marriage saying he told you 3 times that I divorce you, that's proof that that's how you tell your CIs that it was an Islamic marriage. So usually it's based on what you give, and whenever you produce or provide a decree nisi, decree absolute to your CIS, and there are issues with the decree nisi and decree absolute, then that's where the issue lies, because now you've already roped yourself in that what I gave you, based on what I gave you, then I was married in court. And so they may even send you an IRA if you explain where you married in court, and if you say, yes, I was married in court or in church, that infers that you were married in civilly. And so what they would expect will be decree nisi and decree absolute. So it's usually what you produce in evidence. That's how they get to know what kind of marriage you are claiming to have had. Hello, Wowo boy. Congratulations. So y'all remember, I think was it 2 weeks ago, and I think Miss Abena and Miss Eleanor Sanctor were actually saying everything was going to work out fine for Wowo boy. So he passed his N400 interview and waiting for his oath ceremony letter. Congratulations. That is absolutely amazing. See, we told you there's nothing to worry about, but we thank God in all things. Okay, let us go to TikTok, people. Let's see. Let me run through this because I still have. I look graceful. Thank you, Mr. Akiemi. Let's see. I just did my biometrics because I extended my B2 visa. What's next? Wait for them to make a decision. Thank you, Mr. Larry. How are you? You look so much like 𝒐𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕. Who's 𝒐𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕? Don't judge me. I don't know. Let me go. Now you got me interested. Who's 𝒐𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕? 𝒐𝒕𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕. That's not a name. Is it 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕 or 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕? I'm seeing 𝒉𝒂𝒏𝒕. I don't know. Okay. I have already applied for I-45 6 months ago, but I missed applying for the I-765. You can always still send that in. My I-130 was denied. Can I have any other option? Can I have any other option to bring my spouse from India? Sit down with the lawyer and talk about your case, why it was denied, and if you can refile. But if you know why it was denied, then you can work towards avoiding that. What does it mean? RFIE I-45 request for initial evidence. It just means that there was something that should have been submitted at the time you filed your I-45 that wasn't submitted with the application, and now you get a chance to submit that. How much is your consultation fee? 130, 30 minutes, 245 minutes, 231 hour. Okay. It's request for initial evidence of bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Just wait to see what it is. You might not need an interview in that case. Oh, talking of not needing an interview, y'all. So now, for the most part, when your CI sends the kind of pimple on my cheek, when they send the
RFE for the medical. For the most part, that's an indication that they're probably going to waive an interview in your case. However, in the last 2 weeks, we're seeing that even after an RFE for medical, some cases are still being scheduled for interview. I might get everybody, but it's just an FYI. Yeah. I like your hair. Where do you do this, please? I'm on address. Let me know what she. I braid my hair myself. If your spouse is in a Nigerian, yet is based in Nigeria, is it possible to file with Nigerian embassy? If the person lives there and they have proof of being a resident, then generally yes. Disclaimer, general information. Have you ever seen a NOID approved without a lawyer? Well, whenever I have someone consult with me in a NOID, that's because they need my services. So I don't know how to answer that. My I-131 status changed to document was mailed to me. What does that mean? It means they mailed you your advanced borough document. Okay. Can a retired spouse file for you using a paid-off house as affidavit? I never feel comfortable using just real estate or assets as proof of income when it comes to I-864 affidavit support. So they can file for you, but I would just do, if you were my client, I would advise to get a joint sponsor as a backup. I got married right after I got my visa through I-130. My dad filed for me. Okay, I'm not getting your question. Okay. My I-130 is delayed because I'm told I got married before coming to the U.S. because my dad filed for me as single. So what is your question, Freddie? After getting married to my American wife, she stopped talking to me. What can I do? Consult with a lawyer and see what options you may have. I just received my advanced borough through marriage green card. Is it safe to travel with this? Generally, it is. Nothing specific to your case because I don't know anything about your case. But as long as all you're dealing with is just the unlawful presence, generally it is. How long does it take USCIS to respond to NOID cases? It just depends on the field office, depends on, there's a lot of factors. So you can range from 2 months to a year. It just really depends. How long does the I-45 take to get your green card after 3 months of RFP medical submitted? That same response to that. Okay. I-131 was approved in January and still haven't received the document. What should I do? Contact your CIs and ask them to resend that you never received the notice and for them to resend that to you. U.S. citizen filed an I-130 for spouse on 12/22. USCIS shows 3 weeks still decision left. Is it right? I cannot answer the question because that's based on what's going on in your case. So if that's there is that account when you sign up for your with USCIS, would you give an estimate of how long it's going to take them to make a decision on your case? You can go by that, but it's just something I don't really. I take with a pinch of salt and just see what happens. All right, let's go to Instagram. Thank you, PAD. How are you? Hello, I am Sheyi Idris. My oldest son's name is Sheyi Oluwashi.
I'm telling you, Mommy Judy's is humbling. Yeah, that's my number one job on this earth. God, it's a privilege that God has given us as mothers. So I do not take it for granted. Hello, Miss Giwa. I still talk to you, Carla, about you this morning. So you'll be hearing from us soon. Yes, Miss Abena, it is a favorite month, and we're see what was boys and 400 got approved. We're going to claim this testimonies and use them as points of contact to us. Island Gal Tammy, thank you. Congratulations, little boy. We told you so. Yes, so please don't forget to share the live with your family and friends and Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok at Olale Immigration. And we're representing immigration clients in all 50 states. Contact number once again is 334-341-4475. I have my green card through VAWA. How long till I have to wait to file citizenship depends on what the status of your spouse is. So if your abuser was a citizen, then 3 years after you got your 3 years from when you got your green card. If the abuser is a green card holder, then 5 years. And let me put this out there. If your abuser is a citizen, you qualify for citizenship 3 years, even if you're no longer married to the person. So even if you're divorced, you still will qualify for citizenship based on abuse. Well, if you got your green card based on abuse after 3 years, if your abuser is a citizen. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, you couldn't see that on TikTok and IG, but if you go on, if you still need the visual, then go on YouTube or Facebook so you see what I was talking about there. I have a 204C due to prior fraudulent attempt, which I have been fighting with immigration. My 𝒊 prima facie is approved. What are the chances of I-360 approval? I cannot tell you what chances are, but I can tell you that it is something that will be considered in your 𝒊 case. And that's because once you have a 204C, and I have a couple of cases like that, but we filed 𝒊 because the only way you can overcome a 204C is if you file something to be able to challenge it. If not, you would never be able to get a green card. But I can tell you what the chances of an I-360 being approved will be. We've been in the U.S. for 8 years. Can we file for divorce here or Nigeria? Please do not file for divorce in Nigeria when you're already here 8 years. Filing for divorce has nothing to do with your status. It has nothing to do with your legal status. There's no state that requires you to be a legal permanent resident and or a citizen in order for you to file for divorce. The requirement for divorce is generally United States is residency. I'll use my state, for example. In the state of Alabama, as long as you have been a resident in the state of Alabama for at least 6 months, you are able to file a divorce complaint. No one is going to ask you, what is your immigration status? I do divorce all day, every day. There is nothing like that. That's usually the requirement, just residency. I submitted green card application via marriage to a U.S. citizen. Is a normal not to receive work or travel permit in a year. NBC Person Center. There's nothing abnormal with USCIS. It's USCIS. No with them. Everything is a miracle with them. So yeah. But 1 year is not. If you look at USCIS.gov /processing times, then you'll be able to have an idea. If I get a job, is it okay to sign the I-9 form? Employers are generally required to have you sign that. Does a first-time DUI affect a pending VAWA case? Depends on what is the classification of a DUI in your state. Then you can use that to now see if it falls under any of those categories that will prevent you from being able to establish good moral character, or good moral character in a VAWA case, or potentially your green card application. But that would depend on what the statute, because in my state, DUI is classified as a criminal offense. Sometimes it's classified as a traffic violation in some cases, or criminal offense, misdemeanor. But when it comes to, depending on how many you've gotten, it can rise up to level of felony, which for immigration purposes can be considered aggravated felony, which prevents you from establishing good moral character. So without getting into a whole lot of if I'm undocumented and I get a job, is it okay to sign the I-9 form? I cannot speak to your case. What I can tell you is this. I-9 is basically the U.S. government's way of having an employer verify that you're authorized to work. So if you're signing an I-9 form, you're basically saying you're authorized to work. Please keep in mind, do not ever claim to be a citizen. If you do, you would never be able to get a green card. So, but I can't tell you whether it's signed or not. That's not what I can do. If we submitted a court marriage certificate at the embassy, can we claim customary for divorce? Nope. That's what I just explained. What is the required birth certificate for Nigerians? Go on that reciprocity schedule. You either have the long form birth certificate or you have the attestation letter from the NPC. Yeah, Miss Eleanor's right. It was last week. Boy was panicking. What God cannot do does not exist. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I have an interview coming up on my VAWA case, and I have customary divorce certificate. What can I do about it? I'm confused. Consult with a lawyer so you know exactly, so you can avoid the confusion before you have your interview. What is your success rate on national interest applications? It is high. Have I gotten cases denied? Absolutely. But I can count on one hand how many cases have been denied. But success rate. Thank you, Jesus. So it's high. Can't give you a percentage. Actually, in my state, I'm not allowed to. I had that on my website, and the state bar called me and says you got to take that off. That is misleading. Whatever. It's Alabama. That's it. Is it okay to file online or do a paper submission? I don't care to file anything online. It just depends on your preference. How do I withdraw an old position? What you mean, old petition? If that's what you mean, you write a letter to the field office or the service center or lockbox where your case is pending. Can you help complete a national interest waiver application? I don't complete forms. I either represent you on the case or either represent you fully or I don't. I don't complete forms, just to help you complete forms. For marriage-based adjustment, can one file the remaining forms I-45 5 months after filing the I-130 before approval? If you are eligible to file the adjustment status, an example will be if your spouse is a citizen, then you will be classified as immediate relative. So that means you can do a concurrent filing or subsequent filing based on dependent I-130. Can I file N-400 after stay in 5 year into? Can I file N-400 after stay in 5 year in 2 years green card? Okay, let me rephrase that. Siri, it's your. I'm assuming you're asking if you're able to file for naturalization. You have a pending 751. I'm assuming. But it's been 5 years since you got your 2-year green card. So now you're asking, are you eligible to file for citizenship? If that's your question, generally, yes.
She divorced me after I filed the I-751. Then the very first thing you want to do is to ask them to convert your joint petition to a divorce basis as long as you have the divorce decree. Or better still, consult with a lawyer. Does coming into the U.S. uninspected affect our case? Actually, if you have just a single entry without inspection, just one entry, you haven't gone and come back in. If you had a single entry without inspection and you file a VAL petition, you are actually exempt from that bar that normally if you're filing in the regular marriage case, you enter without inspection, you cannot apply for green card without having to leave. If you're a VAL self-petitioner, you have not more than one entry illegally without inspection, then you still will be able to apply for your green card because you'll be exempt from that bar. Can a 31-year-old lady marry a 75-year-old man? Why not? If you go at this point, that's a good, listen, you just give me an idea. Because my mom and everybody are like, I think I should look for like a 90-year-old man. Hear me out, people. Hear me out. 90-year-old man only need a lot of 90-year-old man that has a lot of money. Because I gotta have like backup retirement plan, right? So to buy local call. And then he'll be in a nursing home, so I don't have to see him every day. But yes, you can. Obviously there's going to be a red flag, quote unquote, but if you have sufficient good faith evidence, you should be fine. I really like your program. Please, I want to ask if someone can get interview waived for work visa in China. I can't tell you about China. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Ernest. I can't tell you about China. Okay. You're welcome. Give me Siri. Okay, that answers your question. All right, let's see. Nothing. Oh, you better believe it. Have you met me? Of course, I am a whole trophy wife. Not for a 90-year-old, but for anybody. I'm a whole lot. The end of my deep with me. You must. And my mushu go to indani. I'm ready. See. Let me put it to you this way. Even my kids don't want to marry somebody like their mother. Even Esther, my oldest kid, I'm like, no, you're a whole lot. So he says, no, I don't think so. I'm like, you don't want someone like your mama? He goes, I'm going to change you for anything. But no, I can't live with someone like you the rest of my life. But, forgive them, Lord, for they don't know what they're saying. But I think the nursing home will work. Is it okay to file I-130 online with evidence, and will I get the acceptance notice? Meaning you will get the receipt notice, and it's okay to file online. A former national figure has a trophy wife. She's definitely. Just saying. Y'all, I'm sure y'all have retirement plans, right? That's mine. So, hey, it is what it is. Right now, I don't need nobody to take care of me, but if I try to get a billionaire, then he can pay for his nursing home, and I'll see him like once a week or once every other week. So that will work. I didn't call names, but if your mind tells you it starts with a T, you're right. What is the wait time for a response for removal of conditions? It just depends. I've had cases approved in as little as 5 months, and I have cases pending 3 years. My Yoruba is very good. Esheo. That's a miracle. That doesn't happen every day. Okay. All right. I think I got through all questions, at least making one round each. Asylum case was dismissed recently, and I got EAD and Social Security number through it. But now I'm married to a U.S. citizen. Will I be getting a new Social Security number after I get my green card? No, because your Social Security number stays with you regardless of what it is. You're such a blessing to everyone that always turns onto your life. You restore hope without the question. You answer that other lawyers don't, even though they're not your client. Thank you. Who is that? Destin_Tycoon. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I don't do free consultation, because I don't come up with office like, why would you charge for consultation? Why? You're asking me why I would charge.
She might lost to Walmart and tell them, hey, I need to buy, grocery, the bread, you 𝒊𝒎𝒎𝒊𝒈𝒂𝒏𝒕 somewhere. Why can't I just walk out of Walmart and go eat my bread? Why do you want me to pay? Yeah. The hashtag. Let's to work something. Okay, let's see. Hello, Miss Aaron. How are you? Love you back. Hello, Miss Chrissy. How is my jailer? Asking your permission to do a portrait of you for your birthday. Oh my goodness. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Mary Braids. I think it's, did I not just see it on Instagram? Mary Braids. About you. No. Hey, you know. Any update on the Dignity Act? Bongo, come on. No, nothing. Thank you, Miss Pamela. I got it. Yeah, I got to put this on the screen. Say it again. You're the best. She said I'm the best. She said it. But I thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Humbled by it and glad to have been part of your story. Miss Pamela has a green card after 16 years, I think. I'm telling you, there's stories that when you hear, you know that, okay, you cannot give up. Because it's not like Miss Pamela did not give up. Anything is possible. What God cannot do does not exist. I filed 45 before my I-360 and held my 45 in advance. Now my I-360 is approved. Congratulations. Should I withdraw my I-45 since it was filed by my spouse or wait? No. That's the whole point of the abeyance. Pearl. That's the whole point of the abeyance. So now that your I-360 has been approved, what I usually do, especially if your I-45 was pending at the field office, what I usually do for my clients whenever we transfer convert from a regular case to VAR case is to send in a copy of the approval notice, because I don't wait for USCIS to do anything on my behalf. I don't. I send a copy of the approval notice to the USCIS office and informing, because the Vermont Service Center should let them know. I just feel comfortable doing it myself. Like, hey, and you, Gwenny, and people at by what's your approved value? So please, we can continue adjudication of the 45, and usually that would kick things into motion again. Your explanations were very explicit. I'm in love with your professionalism. Thank you, Mr. Jude. Congrats once again, Wobo Boy. We rejoice with you. We thank. Hello, Mr. Abu. Did you get approval sending on? Yours is coming. It's coming, God willing. Of course, we had an approval last week. We had a miracle approval in 5 months, but God remains faithful. God remains faithful. So let's just remember, that there's something that I always say. The fact that something has never been done does not mean God cannot do it. Hello, Grace. I'm based in Alabama, but I represent immigration clients in all states. Can I file for my 10-year-old daughter in my green card petition? Mary, if you're asking that based on your U.S. citizen husband not going to file for you, you can't file for her later on, but she cannot be added to your case. Your husband would have to file a separate I-130 for your daughter. And then based on that separate I-130, then she files a green card application. But she just cannot get a green card by being added to your petition, because you both are immediate relatives of your husband. Because something has never been done does not mean that God cannot do it. So because somebody else has not had a testimony about something does not mean that God cannot use you to be the one to testify to something that has never been recorded, but use you or your life or your story as an example to his glory, that his name alone be credited and praised. So let's just keep holding on, knowing that he remains God. There is nothing that he has promised that would not be fulfilled. Like when people ask me, hey, what do you think my chances are of this? I don't give chances, because it's like asking me to guarantee something. I just don't. At best, I'll tell you it's a 50-50. And really that's that's a reality. But one thing I know is my brain doesn't work with, call me crazy. Sometimes I'm up till like last night. I didn't sleep till about, was it last night? No, Sunday, Monday. Shouldn't need Tuesday. Should Tuesday, Lenny. Yeah. Um. No, it was Sunday because I needed to get some cases out. I was up till about almost 4 a.m. because I had to review like 7 cases, and then 2 of them had to be out Monday without fail. But Monday, right? No, so without fail. But my weekend, because I was soccer mom all through weekend. TJ had a soccer game Saturday, Sunday. It was back to school shopping, so I knew I had to be up at night because mommy duties called during the day. And so I say that to say this, whenever I do that, it's me and I'm just praying. I'm knowing that though I'm telling this, I've told you what I can, but there's just my brain that keeps saying it's not what I'm able to do or argue. That's the gift that God has given me. But he that has began this work, that we pray that he will give us success. So that's the mentality and the mindset I want everyone, all of us, to have and agree in faith. As we come together and agree in faith, we share the stories, and we know that as we share the stories, I'm sure you guys have seen it. We're sharing stories, and people are coming back to give testimony. There's nothing like people coming together and agreeing in faith. Things that seem almost impossible. What's Pamela's case is an example of that. And when people connect certain people in your life, things begin to fall into place. And the Bible says the lines shall fall for you in pleasant places. It will work out for us. That's all I'm going to say. And I'm just warning to me, you wake up each day and just know that he hasn't brought us this far from a foreign land, wherever that foreign land is for each of us, for us to fail. He's got to complete the work he has started. And I pray that we'll continue to have many, many, many testimonies to share with one another.